All right, let's go. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good night, good evening. What the hell do you want, Kyle? I'm live. Kyle? That's weird. I heard somebody this is a little spooky now. There's a door right there, and somebody just knocked on that door. Kyle's not here. It's not Kyle. I mean, he's in the house, but did you knock on the door? Well, wait, come here for a second. Hold on. This is live TV. Oh, okay. All right. I feel better now because I sure as hell sound like somebody knocked on the door. All right. Okay. I thought we had a poltergeist first thing Monday morning. We've had kind of a technical issue type of day here so far. My label printer from my eBay stuff didn't want to work. This laptop didn't want to work. As soon as I sit down and go live, I guess Kyle busted the paper towel holder and it fell on the floor and bounced all over the place. I thought somebody was knocking at the door, so that's okay. All right, let's try this again. How the hell's everybody doing on this fine, beautiful, perfectly summer Monday morning? So obviously we at least have a little bit of news. Craig Scott. Wait, what? Hold on a second. Let me blow up the chat. Although my eyes are pretty good today, I can almost read the chat without blowing it up. That's interesting. Colin, Craig, Miss Krabs. Yes, the reports say Tkachuk should be back by January. I don't know what to believe. I put out a video about it. I don't know what to believe. I mean, I know he had the surgery and everything, but it doesn't. Am I the only one? Doesn't it kind of seem like I can't remember there would ever be a scenario where a team's going into a season knowing that there's one particular player that they would have to trade to get cap compliant when somebody came back who started the year on LTIR. I can't remember a time when that would have happened. It's so strange because it's not like there's a big, it's not like a big selection. Everybody knows it would be Rodriguez, And Craig says, yeah, Erod on LTIR late December. That's kind of what I was thinking with the Kunin signing. With the Kunin signing, that's what I was thinking was, okay, so now Chucky comes back. If they put Rodriguez on LTIR and then traded Boquist, we'd be cap compliant and Kunin would be the Boquist replacement. That makes some sense. But, I mean, how do you get away with that? You can't possibly get away with that. Rodriguez. It just so happens that miraculously 1 week before Tkachuk comes back, Rodriguez, pulls a groin? I mean, come on. Nobody's going to believe that. Nobody's going to believe that. Vincent, you think everybody knows it would be Utah? Why is that? Well, I still remain unconvinced that it's going to go down. But possible floaty injury, Craig. Pool floaty injury. Yeah. Now, of course, in all of that mix is Mackie Samoskevich, right? Because if you keep Rodriguez and Samoskevich plays all year long in that spot, and then Tkachuk comes back for game one of the playoffs, somebody's got to sit, and it might be Samoskevich again. And if that happens again, he might be like, I don't have to sign a contract with you Panthers. That would be rough on Mackey. Vincent says, well, it's all up to the Tkachuk's ego. Be a team player or be a star. And that's exactly, that's definitely part of how I feel about it, Vincent, is like it just doesn't feel right with the way that the whole family atmosphere is gone, that Tkachuk would just, come back with, I'm home. I'm home now. I'm home a couple months early. So, brother Erod, you got to hit the road. It just don't feel right. It feels yucky. It feels icky. It gives me the ick. I don't like it. So we'll see. Look, last year, remember, two guys that played well in the playoffs were Ekblad and Marchand, right? And both guys, were on, well, Ekblad was suspended, but he was gone, right? He missed a lot of time there at the end. And then, of course, Marchand was on IR when we picked him up, so he missed some time. And so, there's always the possibility of somebody actually getting dinged like that. So we'll see how it has to go. Meadow says, how do I feel Kunin will fit in? I think I like it. I especially like it as a possible Boqvist replacement. Not that I have anything against Boqvist, but if we do end up needing to trade somebody, players to get under the cap or to get cap compliant, Boqvist would be an obvious one that would have to go because Rodriguez himself isn't enough. So I think the Kuhn, and don't forget, Gadjevich does tend to get hurt a lot. He has those fights and he does tend to miss some time. And so I feel like when that happens, Kunin can just step right in. I kind of feel a little bit better about his fourth line ability than I do about Boqvist. Boqvist is kind of like a tweener, not necessarily a heavy physical fourth line type of guy. So I like it. I wasn't expecting much in the way of, getting any other depth there. But I guess, especially once we moved on from Sordiff, there's not really anybody from the AHL that's really ready to come up and, contribute on that bottom six the way it's laid out, in my opinion. And so I like the move. And again, because the possibility of having to move on from Boqvist, that'll help out. Craig says, hockey guys top 20 cats list, no Chucky. What? Are you saying that the hockey guy made a video about the top 20 Panthers and didn't have Tkachuk on it? That can't be right. Hey, Ryan, how you doing, bud? You already got your ticket to see the Blackhawks on opening night? That's cool. Very cool. I have to watch that, Craig. How's that? Is he trolling people? How is that? Is it top 20 all time? It's got to be top 20 all time. How does he not? I'll have to watch that, Craig. He doesn't come up in my feed this time of year. But I'll have to watch that. That's worth the reaction. Steven says, pretty early in January, we're wondering if he's back for the Winter Classic. And that could happen as well. Somebody had asked a question that I don't know the answer to. Said, and I had thought about this. I don't know. Can he play in the Olympics if he's on LTIR? Like, could he legitimately make his comeback the Olympics and then, I got hurt again, and now I have to sit out the rest of the season? Hey, David. Vince says, Kunin might be an early deadline acquisition, and we still have about $5 million to spare, right? Oh yeah, if Chucky stays out, right? I mean, that's the other Vincent. That's a really good point that nobody's talked about. That we're, on one hand, you're like, well, what are you gonna do when Chucky comes back? But if Chucky doesn't come back to the playoffs, we've got money to burn. Not money to burn, but we've got plenty of money there. If anything happened to somebody significant where we really needed to replace a player, if Chucky's still out, we've got the money to do that. That's one half of that whole equation that we haven't really talked about. Grace says, came out a little bit ago today. Decent list of Yandel is on it. Yandel's on it, but not Tkachuk. I got to see this. Is he serious? I have to see that, Craig. I'll have to watch that later. That sounds like something worth reacting to. How could he not have Tkachuk on there? It sounds like purposefully done for views. But we'll see. I'll watch it. I don't understand. Vincent says, what? Tkachuk is barely a hockey player. Doubt he'll be in the top 100 players on current hockey rosters. He's an accessory player and good at what he does, but no. You don't think so? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about that. That might be a little harsh. Vincent's starting to sound like me bitching about Barkov back in the day. Hey, Silva, how you doing, bud? Nice. Oh, that's cool. Multi-week vacation in Japan. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, Colin. Kyle's going to be live today on the football channel at 3. So we real quick, the football league is full. We got 12 teams, and I stopped it at 12 teams because Kyle was kind of in a panic about if you had a 20-team league that like by the second or third round of the draft you have no good talent left. So we got 12 teams, so I left it at 12 and that's that. So we'll see. Yeah, I know. When are they going to announce the camp? They should be announcing Panthers camp any day now. We know it's going to be like the 19th or 20th of September, but at least give us something. Vincent says, I want to send Jaws to Siberia, but even they would not take them. All I asked for in return were pine nuts. I don't even like pine nuts. There was a restaurant I used to go to that you'd get your own personal pizza. And one time I got pine nuts on it. It sounded good, but it wasn't. It definitely wasn't. So, boy, this weekend, though, I tell you what, I ate all sorts of things I shouldn't have ate. I had Italian subs, one Italian sub, but I had it 2 days. And then we got an Oreo cookie ice cream cake. And I'm not saying that last night I ate the rest of it by myself, but last night I ate the rest of it by myself. I took the last piece, which honestly, if I was a giving person, could have probably been split into 3 small pieces for everybody in the house to have. But instead, I ate the whole thing myself and put on a bunch of Cool Whip. And that's what I did because it was my birthday cake. That's what I did. Yeah. So I don't really feel bad about it either. What's it pine nuts taste like? It's got the consistency of like a soft cashew, and it just didn't really have a whole ton of didn't have a whole ton of flavor. You telling me I ate all the money? No, I didn't. I didn't buy my own stuff for my birthday, Vincent. Donna took care of that. I didn't buy my own stuff. Now, why do you think I had it? I don't spend money on my stuff like that. That's why I'm so skinny. When I don't have it's true though. I'll just skip lunch sometimes. Your body gets used to skipping lunch, and then when you go back to eating lunch, you feel too full. But yeah, no, I didn't. That's what makes it so much worse is I didn't even buy it. And then I shared it the first night. Kyle had a piece the first night. And then there was other ice cream in the house, though. There were two big things of ice cream that Donna and Kyle were working on. So last night, I'm not even going to pretend. There was no ice cream left. There was just a big, huge piece of ice cream cake, and I ate it all. I did. The whole thing. Went to cool it by myself. It's like Cartman would say, it was my birthday, birthday. I still remember that when you got, what was it? The red Mega Man and the yellow Mega Man and the green Mega Man. That was one of the best episodes. So, Vincent. Petrara says Hilton has been cut. I thought he was hurt anyway. Well, as long as they don't do anything stupid like cutting Ollie Gordon, he's the only running back we have left at this point. Everybody else is hurt. So, I know Tkachuk had. Oh, was that? Yeah. So it says hopefully Tkachuk is out for the whole season. That's probably not a controversial take. We know Tkachuk isn't necessary for this team cruising to a playoff spot, and lets us keep everyone. Yeah. When I saw the tweet, I read back the next day and I saw it. Definitely, just be prepared, Panther fans. Not that we don't know that this is coming, but if he does manage to stay out the entire year, or if somebody else was to get hurt right before he came back, be prepared. They're going to hate us even worse. At some point, the hate is going to reach Kansas City Chiefs levels. It's pretty bad. I hear Shiloh Santos was cut for punching and opposing. Yeah, Kyle told me about that last night. Yeah, Kyle told me about that last night. He's going to be starting to, now that he's getting good with the streams, he's going to be starting to make some content over there. You guys saw the video I put out on Friday. I got another one coming out, but that's going to take me a little bit longer because I'm trying. I've got a video subject that I'm going to be doing, and I'm trying to procure either an interview or at least a statement from the subject of the video. That's what I'm trying to do. Since the video that I had out Friday included when I interviewed Billy Lindsay, I figured let's see if I can use that as, hey, to this person that the video is about, see if they might be willing to give me 15 minutes or give me a statement about the subject of the video. So I'm working on that this week, and that'll of course affect how the video goes. But I'm hoping by the following Friday everything's ready and out. Hey Chris, how you doing, bud? Yeah, they're lazy cats, exactly, Vincent. Panthers might get Kansas City Chiefs levels of hate minus the Taylor Swift dating one of the players. Yeah, exactly. Remember, she showed up, her and what's-his-face showed up at least one or two of the Stanley Cup final games. They tried that stuff. No, thank you. Not interested. Not interested. But yeah, it really is going to be hard to see if they have to trade Rodriguez in the middle of the year. Plus, on top of it, you can't, if you had to do that, you can't take anything back but picks and prospects. You know what I mean? And so it just doesn't make a whole lot of logical sense to me when you're trying to three-peat that you would get rid of Rodriguez and Boquist right on the eve of the playoffs just to accommodate Tkachuk. Which pauses, Vincent? You got to be more specific. Are you talking about when I'm speaking? Or are you talking about when I show a video clip or something else and it's not me speaking? You got to be specific. Hey, Simon, how you doing, bud? Yeah, exactly, Silva. Mackey, Bennett, Rodriguez on the second line for 2 months. That should be fun. It's definitely going to force Sam Miskevich to be ready. That's for sure. That's for sure. Chara, I don't know what. I can't. When we see the 53, you know what I mean? It's hard to know what Greer's doing because a lot of guys get cut this time, and then so there may be somebody else that we're going to pick up. Most of the offense has been cut. Yeah. Miramax says Tkachuk just can't sit out as long as you want. League does keep an eye on injuries. Yeah, no, I understand that. But he could easily have a setback, you know what I mean? But I get what you're saying. Well, I do have an audio track on all of it, Vincent. That I do. Maybe it wasn't loud enough, but there was an audio track behind the whole thing. That's for sure. Oh, I see what you're saying. Right. Well, I think when I wasn't talking though, I mean the clips that I showed when I wasn't talking, I did have the audio going. But I understand what you're saying, making it quicker transition between the thoughts. So far, the retention has been good. So far, the video is doing what I needed it to do, which is it didn't die after like the second day. It's still getting good impressions and whatnot. So far, it's doing what I needed it to do. Now, what I did notice is that for like a recap type of video, I usually get about $7 for every 1,000 views. But on the longer one, it was only like $3 for 1,000 views. So that's kind of disappointing. Vincent, right. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I mean, I can do it talking quicker. You know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure that any of the I'd have to go back and rewatch it. I mean, I know I always had the audio, the song, the music underneath. I had that the whole time. It's like the first transition to the Scott Mellenby thing. like I could have gone right to the speaking part. I'll have to look and see in my analytics where viewers were dropping off and if that had any effect. Miss Krabs, yeah, it's been a very, very quiet offseason. League-wide. It's interesting, Vincent, because you say everybody says YouTube, they recommend shorter length. It's you're right, but the problem is that anything that's shorter length of mine, the algorithm thinks it already knows what to do with it. So the purpose of the longer videos, and it did, I have gained 9 subscribers on that. I haven't gained 9 subscribers on a video in it's been a long time. It might have been years since I gained that many subscribers on one video. And it's also who's watching it has been reversed. Because normally it's 70% subscribers, 30% not subscribed. For that one, for the long one, it's flipped. So it's accomplishing what I wanted it to do. It was a pain. Do you know, get this part. You guys know I talk about the copyright stuff. So it's usually only like game footage that they've copyrighted, that the NHL copyrights. Do you know that the Luongo on the drum, when Luongo was on the drum and they were showing it on TV, right? Do you know they copyrighted that? Because the original video had that clip in it. The original video had that clip in it. If you watch the video now, it's got a fan footage of Luongo banging the drum. But the NHL copyrighted that. It was just stupid. It was just stupid. Usually they only copyright highlights, but that clip got copyrighted. It pissed me off. David, yeah, I seen the Beto videos. Yeah. So Silva says also essays will get you more subscribers and non-channel viewership than recaps will. Yeah, I mean I have to do both. This was the test. But I can certainly, I can certainly adjust my speaking style and everything. I can adjust the style as I go along. You know what I mean? But so far I'm happy with the results. Hold on, Silva. It says generally you have 2 types of essay type content: hour-long projects and 5 to 10-minute essays. For the latter, you want to stuff as much talking in a short length as possible. Hour essays, not so much. Right. Miss Krabs saying, I hope the team isn't fatigued. That's what happened to Lightning in 23. The fatigue finally got to him. There's no doubt that's a concern. There's no doubt. I mean, because this would be our 4th straight Stanley Cup final. That was Tampa's 3rd. It would be insane to get to 4. Yeah, David. Anything, any place to put stuff is a good place at this point. JC says it looks like he says I got 1 year older. It looks like I had 15 birthdays. That's because I'm wearing the red jersey. I don't look so skinny in the red jersey. I should actually look better. So much of my clothes, man. I got to get new clothes or gain my weight back. All my T-shirts, they just drape over me like bags. I can't keep on weight. Man, I mean, I don't eat. I mean, what I eat, I should not be this skinny. Hey, Science says, what's my expectation for the Panthers for the season? So, I mean, it's early. It's hard for me to say exactly. If they're healthy, though, if they're healthy and they don't get stuck playing the Canadians, I think they should win the conference. I'm not really sure if the Canadians are going to be ready. Sometimes teams look ready and then they take a step back and then they really jump forward. Monty's got to, he's got to really prove that he could play at that level permanently. But I know their energy gave the Capitals fits. And that's the one team that if energy is a concern, the Canadians could be a problem. Vincent says, the whole copyright thing is bizarre to me. Make a clear licensing system or just block it completely. This hunger for pennies is ugly. Yeah. And the biggest thing, Vincent, that we run into is that there's no system to know what's going to be copyrighted until after you've produced the file, uploaded it to video, uploaded it to YouTube, and waited to see. Now, luckily for me, I only had one round. I had 3 copyrights. I had the one with the Luongo thing, which I couldn't believe that. I've never seen something that wasn't highlights get copyrighted. But that whole section got copyrighted. It sucked because it was a really cool part. And then there was one angle of the Reinhardt goal in Game 6 that they wouldn't let me use. The rest of the stuff they let me use, but there was one main angle, like a 4-second clip, and they copyrighted it. Jesus. And then there was some of the post-game celebration, actually. And it was weird because it was actually a little bit of the footage. You know how they have the drone camera in the middle that kind of goes towards the net and away? It was post-game when the Panthers were celebrating behind the net. And it was another 5-second clip, and they copyrighted that one. So there's a couple of moments in there. So I had to go back, take those out, find new things, put them in, reproduce the file all over again, upload all over again. And then luckily the second time through, there was no more copyrights. I've had some football videos where like I gave up. Like I'm on my like 5th, 6th try, and they're still finding like 3 seconds of footage to copyright. And I just forget it. And I just put it out that way and I don't get the ad revenue. It's gotten a lot worse. It just doesn't make any sense. Like it just grows interest in the game. So, but the 90s stuff, the older stuff is fine. That stuff you could put like a whole 10, 20 second, one singular play and there's no problem with that. But the newer stuff, it's I mean, the guys that like hockey psychology, I can't imagine the hell that he goes through. Because, cutting all that stuff into little clips, he does the freeze frames a lot, that probably helps. Hey, Simon. No, I haven't. I didn't check my email this weekend, so I'll check that later on today. I didn't check it this weekend. Yeah, David says NHL by far your favorite. They're also by far the absolute worst at growing the game and TV contracts. Yeah, I mean, I get it to an extent, but like the Luongo thing, why would Luongo banging the drum be copyrighted? It just, by the NHL, it's not even like it was the Panthers. That really, usually you're 100% safe when you get footage that's not game footage. You can throw that in there and you're good to go. Apparently not anymore. So I'm hoping that I can get an interview or a statement from the subject of this next video. Would go a long way. Kenneth says older stuff, the bots can't even follow the pixelated videos. Yeah, Kenneth. All right, David, take it easy, bud. Yeah, the older stuff. Although I did find one clip of they were a little bit wonkish with the copyright on a couple of spots from the Panthers and Avalanche. But any of the playoff stuff was good to go. And yeah, probably because it's so pixelated, you know. The Billy Lindsay clip looked like it was filmed on a potato, like a baked potato. It was bad, but it was so bad I just figured, well, it's so bad it's good. You know what I mean? It kind of added to it. And so we'll see how all that goes. We'll see. This is the week. This week and next week is the week that we're terrorizing downstairs, rearranging everything. And I don't know. I wanted to bring this room downstairs and combine it all into one. But when Colin and I are looking at the football schedule, I don't think it's going to work because I think there's too many games that him and I may need to stream. He might need to do a hockey game and I need to do a football game at the same time. And we can't do it in the same room. So we're still working on that, trying to sort through that. But we still got a couple of weeks. This will be nice because we got, Donna was off on Friday. Now she's off on Labor Day. So it's 2-3 day weekends in a row. Just no ice cream cake this week. So Vincent says in F1, for an example, you can't even publish your phone recordings because it's obviously from the stands. So there's levels of that. Wow. Silva says, trade alert. We've officially traded the Wongo, Krejcik, and the 6th to Vancouver in exchange for Bertuzzi, Allen, and Ald. Yeah. Good call, Silva. By updating the membership levels, feed Kyle. Jeez. Yeah, that's all work in progress. I mean, it's happening. First thing I wanted to do was what I did, the name change and the whole, if you notice, the whole description and all of that has changed. And so far, I am noticing somewhat of a difference. A bigger difference on the longer video. So, next one will be better. You know what I mean? Next one will be better. I actually ended up having to re-record the audio for that one. The first one, the sound, it didn't sound all that right. So that was actually a complete re-record on that second one. So I guess, I'll have to work on the editing in between with the blank spaces. I get it. The way I talk is not conducive to retention. I understand that. It's better when I'm just yelling and screaming in reaction to something. So, which might happen when I see that hockey guy video. Top 20 Panthers and no Tkachuk's on there. I mean, that's a little bit much. Sorry, Vincent. You're still stuck with me. I don't know what to tell you. I'll have a members podcast out for everybody tomorrow. We're getting a nice cool front here. Kenneth says, I need a sign in the background, X days since my last rant. I haven't had a rant since game 3 against the Rangers, I think. Did I have any rant last year at all? That's the only downfall. It's the only downside to them being so good. Like, how do you bitch and complain? Right? like anybody new that would find the channel now, if I was doing a rant, would be like, what's wrong with this guy? They won 2 cups in a row. What's he complaining about? You know, they wouldn't understand that good things happen when I complain. No Yager on that list? Is Hockey Guy okay? Is he all right? I mean, is he strictly talking about their I gotta watch this video. Now I gotta watch this video. I might just have to do a whole video where I just watch it. Watch it. What do they call that? Blind reaction? Yeah. What if I ran about a win and complained that we scored too much? See, it has to be real. That's the only problem. The ranting has to be real. It has to be genuine. And then good things happen. You know? I wish we would have won that game, though. The Rangers game 3. Was it game 3? Yeah, it was game 3. I wish we would have won that game. Yeah, we were complaining in March when the defense was gone. Complaining, yeah. But I think that was the worst rant I had on the channel was that one. But of course, Fluffy was in the middle of dying. I was stressed out and it showed. But it would have been better if we would have won that game. We came back, tied it, got to overtime, lost in overtime again. It really would have made for better content if I would have been able to cut a clip of that rant and then show 5 minutes later that we had won the game. That would have been better. Didn't get lucky about that one. Bob handling puck giveaways. That's true. That's true. Yeah. I never thought. I started the channel because there was so much to bitch and complain about. I had decades of shit to bitch about. I never thought I would run out of things to complain about. So now the only thing I can do is go back to the things we used to do, like the Barnes for Wells. That's all I can do is go complain about the stuff we used to do. Hey, Patel. It's good to add a few more players on the Hockey Guy list. Ray Shepard, Paul Laws, Beezer. I'll have to watch it. Now you're saying, who the hell's on the list? Who the hell is on the list? This I got to watch. Yeah, I'll have something out with that. That's craziness. Oh, you got to get a Pippin Marchand yesterday? Cool, Sun Swine. Yeah, Fluffy took his time. Ain't no joke about that, man. Yeah. Boy. Hockey Guy list. Lindsay, Bomeister, Yandel, Bubba, Forsling, Swag, Niedermeyer, Barnes. Well, what? Wait. No, you guys are trolling me. You got to be trolling me, Silva. I got to watch this video. My Dolphins channel ratings should be through the roof if I need ranting. That's what I'm doing this year, yeah. Lindsay, Bomeister, Yandel, Bubba, Forsling, Swaggy, Niedermeyer, Barnes, Eki, Dadanoff, Wait a minute. Volkuna had a Bubba. Come on. You guys are making this up. Wait, is that Lundell? Wait, and then what? I have to do this one. Hockey, yeah, someone says, give hockey guy a break, just react on stream. His wife's in the hospital. What? Hold on a second. Hey, thank you, Great White. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Great White. Thank you, bud. Love you, brother. Much appreciated. Now I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna have to go get my headphones and do this. Yeah, let me time out. Let me go get my headphones. I'll be right back, and we'll do this because that. No. I'll be right back. Come on now, brother. Come on, Shannon. Bowmeister. All right. Thing got me so irritated. I don't even know why I took off my hat. Jeez. Okay. All right. Bear with me here. Jiminy crickets. Say what? Come on, Shannon. I like you, Shannon. Patel, yeah, the long video I put out, I've gained 9 subscribers from. All right, let's see. All right, let me make sure I got all my sound here. Come on now. Okay, that sounds about right. Yeah, I got the Doug McLean glasses on. Okay, let's move this out of the way for a half a second. Shannon, what are you talking about? How long is the video? Let's see. And why is it not in my feed? Now, if the internet is listening in, it should have shown up right here on this video. Instead, I get the Hockey Guys Buffalo season preview. That's the video I just got in my feed. Come on now. How do you screw that up, Google? You guys got to be freaking. No, here it is. My all-time favorite. Oh, is this his favorite or best? All right, let me see. Hold on a second. Geez. See, now I got to change. Hold on a second. Because I got to change the speaker here. Hold on. I can't. I should be able to hear this. Let me try to make sure I can hear this. No, why can I not hear this? Okay, so I can hear it there, but it's not. When it plays here on YouTube, I'm not hearing it. The tech issues since I started using this camera. Nope, I can't hear it. God dang it! Hold on a second. I'm going to play it for you. I just want you guys to tell me if you can hear it. Because you know what? Let me try this. Can I hear it now here? Okay, I'm going to pray. I'm going to share it. You guys let me know real quick if you can hear it or not. Because, hold on a second.
We are now going to take a look at the Florida Panthers. And if it feels like this is in a random order, you're right.
Can you hear it?
Outside of me covering like Quebec after Colorado and Hartford after Carolina, it really is random. So number 20 on this list of my
Okay,
favorite
okay.
Florida Panthers in their time. And of course, I'm wearing a blue
All right, let's do
jersey
this.
with the jumping panther, which I like quite a bit. Number 20 on the list, a player who played for the original Panthers, Bill Lindsay. Bill Lindsay, a bottom six forward, one of those very hardworking blue-collar players that the Florida Panthers employed during their 96 Stanley Cup final run. So Bill Lindsay, a player that I liked. And bottom six forward, worked hard. You know, the standard THG favorite player type. Number 19.
Oh. All right, so this is his favorites. I get it.
Now, what's interesting is, what I remember about Jay Bouwmeester was the final year he was in Florida before he became a free agent.
Right.
And Florida was trying to reach the playoffs, trying to show that there was some reason for Bouwmeester to stick around. And what ended up happening instead was they did not make the playoffs. They fell short. Bouwmeester ends up going to free agency and signs with Calgary. And there was a lot of discussion at the time about Florida and how they'd failed. And this just set everything back a bit. So while the conversation isn't that around Florida now, it's not that long ago when it was. Number 18 on the list. Another defenseman.
Who's this?
Keith Yandle.
Oh,
Keith Yandle, long games played streak, absolutely. Good offensively minded defenseman and solid all around player. So Keith Yandle at number 18 on my list. You guys can let me know where he'd be on your list, of course, as some do in the comments. But yeah, Keith Yandle comes in at number 18 for me. Number 17. Sergei Bobrovsky. Sergei Bobrovsky has lived up to his contract. At the time that he signed that contract, that has a $10 million cap hit attached to it. There were questions. There were a lot of questions. And those questions really were there until they won that Stanley Cup in 2024. And then it became, okay, so that contract worked out pretty well, just like everybody thought it would. And then, of course, the Stanley Cup in 2025 as well. And Bobrovsky is on the list. Number 16. I feel like the next time out, if I do this again in 5 years, Gustav Forsling probably higher on the list.
Yeah.
I've Gustav Forsling 16th on the list. Went through the Vancouver and Chicago organizations before Florida grabbed him on waivers. And it's one of the greatest waiver wire pickups in the history of the National Hockey League, as far as I'm concerned. Forsling has found himself a real home in Florida, and Florida's paid him well for having found himself a home there. So it's worked out really well for both sides. Number 15 on the list. Another current member of the team.
Great.
Oh, for
the new
hell.
GoDaddy Arrow has AI marketing tools to help small business.
Carter Verhaeghe, a player who the Tampa Bay Lightning, I believe it was that they couldn't afford to hold on to him for cap reasons. Verhaeghe ends up going to the Florida Panthers, and he has flourished. And he has a long-term contract with Florida, as almost everybody does now, of course.
Talent.
Verhaeghe, number 15 on my list. And it's been a really good story of a player who I know that he was pretty well thought of as a prospect, but I think he's overachieved above what was expected of him. Number 14 on the list. He mostly played bottom 6 minutes. Rob Niedermayer. What's interesting with Rob Niedermayer is that he was considered on some level to be a flop compared to, well, like in relation to where he was drafted. He was drafted very early. However, he played a long time in the National Hockey League, and he was a key player for the Florida Panthers at certain points too. So I don't know that I'd necessarily say Niedermayer was a flop. He just ended up being a defensive forward rather than an offensively minded forward, which is okay, but it does cause people to question whether or not that was a pick that...
It wasn't that Niedermayer was a flop. Niedermayer was soft. He was just too soft for it. He every time you'd think he was getting ready to take the next step and learn to use his size and strength to his advantage, he just got pushed off the puck too easily. Nice kid, you could see where the talent was, but it was just like a tease. It was like every once in a while you see these flashes, and but most of the time he would just get knocked off the puck so easily. It was very frustrating to watch him play.
That should have been someone else instead. But still, Niedermeyer, good long career for him. Number 13. There he is. Stu Barnes. So I've had Stu Barnes on the list previous. I believe that was the Dallas one.
Higher.
Now he's on the Florida list. I believe he was part of the 1996 team that went to the Stanley Cup final.
You believe
Stu Barnes, hard worker, could
Yeah.
play top six, could play third line as well. And as I remember, he played center, but he could play on the wing as well. So Stu Barnes is one of those players that obviously THG is going to end up liking. He's not necessarily the biggest player. He does have versatility to his game. He adapts to different situations well. And number 13 on my list. Number 12. Aaron Ekblad. I've seen criticism of Ekblad's game over the years. I've honestly never had any kind of criticism of his game. Have there been gaffes here and there? Sure. But honestly, I think Ekblad's a really good defenseman. Been in Florida his whole career. He signs an extension with them as well, as they're going to keep the whole gang together for next season. And Ekblad is very likely one of those players, too, that could move up the next time that I do a list of my favorite Florida Panthers. Number 11. And this was just a good story. Evgeny Dodonov comes over. His NHL career sputters here and there. And so he heads back over to Europe, plays there. And then when he comes back over to the NHL, he plays quite well. I remember there wasn't a whole lot of discussion of Dodonov coming back. And then he ends up being really good. So, yeah, Evgeny Dodonov, a good run for him with the Florida Panthers team that wasn't quite what they are now. But you were starting to see some positive signs from Florida at points where Dodonov's there. So now we get into the top 10.
Dodonov, for me, was not quite as much of a tease as Niedermeyer was. Dodonov was where if he could have finished, if he was a finisher, he'd have some serious numbers. He would create chance after chance after chance, but he wasn't really good at dishing the puck off. And a lot of times he'd overskate the net constantly and end up losing the puck in the corners behind the net and out the other way. He was another guy that I kind of found really frustrating.
And number 10 on the list, another goaltender. Thomas Vokoun. I've seen comments on the channel about how Vokoun was one of the more underrated goaltenders. Agreed. Vokoun was a very underrated goaltender because of where he played and when he played for the locations that he did. Most of his career was spent with teams that weren't necessarily top draws, top teams in the NHL, but he still went out and put out really good numbers. His numbers as a goaltender were really strong. So Thomas Vokoun, number 10 on my list.
Interesting
number 9
player to have on the list. But it's his
for
personal.
a long time.
Personal
Olli Jokinen. Olli Jokinen, good top six forward, scored points and goals for Florida teams that struggled to score points and goals, and was a pretty good all-around player. So Olli Jokinen, number 9 on my list, and you guys can let me know where he'd be on yours. Number 8.
Is Stephen Weiss going to be on this list?
Scott Mellanby. Maybe
All
the
right.
poster child for that blue-collar work ethic that the Florida Panthers had right out of the gate. Mellanby had a really strong career with the Florida Panthers, and Mellanby's one of those guys that I use as an argument in favor of expansion. I think expansion, being on a team where he had an opportunity to play top minutes, showed teams just how versatile Mellanby could be and how effective he could be. And that Florida team, while it wasn't fun to watch because they really did play a very trapping style, it was entertaining to see them knock off so many good teams, and Mellanby was a big part of that. So Mellanby's number 8 on my list.
I don't know. It was
Number
fun to watch
7.
for me. I don't know about you guys.
If you want to build an
Oh,
app
for
and have
freaking
no
hell.
idea how to code or where to start,
Come on.
check out
Shannon.
Base 40.
How many ads we got to put
Pavel
in there,
Bure.
YouTube?
Bure with Florida, he scored a lot of goals. And he scored a lot of goals for Florida teams that did not have a lot of offensive talent. So his ability to score goals was absolutely huge and cannot be overstated in relation to the Florida Panthers. And it was nice to see him back to playing at that level after some tough seasons in Vancouver before the trade. And so Bure ends up number 7 on my list of favorite Panthers.
So all you need to know for me in terms of Bure was that at the top of my Panther list for me would be Jovanovski for Bure. So that tells you all you need to know there.
Number 6. Another former Canuck. I know I saw some comments about Jovanovski not being on my list of favorite Vancouver Canucks. I get that. He just wasn't one of my top 21 favorites. But number 6 for Florida, yep, Ed Jovanovski. A number 1 draft pick who left Florida and then went back, proving that you can go home again. And I think he was better during his second go around with Florida than he was for his first. And Jovanovski was just, he was a really solid player in big games. So if you had a big game, Jovanovski was a defenseman who could play those for you. And so bringing that experience back to Florida, I think, was important. Number 5 on my list, current player, and I really do think the sky could be the limit for Anton Lundell. Lundell has shown at points where there's injuries and he moves up the lineup just how good he can be offensively. He should be a point per game player, but playing in Florida, playing behind so many good top talent players, he probably won't reach that number yet. But at some point in time, I do think Lundell ends up being a first-line center in the NHL and probably around a point per game player. Plus, he's very good at both ends of the ice. So Lundell, there's really not much not to like about Lundell's game. Number 4 on the list. So there's been quite the conduit between Florida and Vancouver over the years. And Roberto Luongo might be the ultimate example of that, although I mentioned with Jovanovski as well. But Luongo, they acquired him in a trade from Florida, and then they ended up trading him back to Florida some years later. And during his first go-around, Luongo was really the only thing keeping them anywhere near a playoff spot. Played some absolutely fantastic hockey. And then during his second go-around, he did it again. He was kind of fantastic for Florida both times around. Now, of course, he's an executive in the organization. He absolutely deserves both of those Stanley Cup rings. And it's nice to see him happy and successful. Even if it is in retirement, it's nice to see that after all those years in Vancouver, where I felt like some of the criticism was really a little bit over the top. Number 3 on the list for me, another current player, Sam Reinhart. Sam Reinhart can score goals. He can prevent goals at the other end. He can do a little bit of everything. Shorthanded goals, sure. Power play goals, absolutely. 5-on-5, still pretty good. So Sam Reinhart has shown tremendous growth since arriving in Florida from Buffalo. And he's another example of how young players, you may not want to trade them too early on because
that's
Worrell's stick or at the very least, to get back for those young players what really and truly you should. And don't be afraid to ask for a lot for those players because it can really work out, as Reinhart has in Florida. Number 2 on my list, no longer a member of the team, but Jonathan Huberdeau gets number 2 on my list. Jonathan Huberdeau had some great seasons for the Florida Panthers. Has struggled to find his rhythm in Calgary, although this past season for him in Calgary is better than the previous seasons. But Jonathan Huberdeau will be remembered as one of the best players that Florida had prior to that big trade that he was a part of to bring in Matthew Tkachuk. So Jonathan Huberdeau is number 2. So who's number 1 on my list?
It got to be Barkov, right? This is not.
I don't think this name's going to surprise people if they've been following the channel long enough, but Alexander Barkov.
Yeah.
Barkov, it's always interesting to me because every time that I do videos ranking forwards and anything like that, I know that I'll always be told that Barkov's underrated. I've been conditioned to that by when Tkachuk was in the league, and Tkachuk was always underrated too. There are certain players that fans will say, no matter where you put them, in fact, you could put them at number 1. And fans would say, well, you put him at number 1, but you need to explain just how much number 1 he is and how far number 1 he is and how number 2 is actually number 4. You shouldn't have a 2 and a 3 because Barkov's kind of 1, 2, and 3. Well, on this list, he's number 1, and Barkov is one of the best two-way forwards in the game. And right there, people are like, well, how can you say one of? He's the best two-way forward in the game. You're underrating him. There, that makes my point. But either way, Barkov, fantastic player, couple of Stanley Cup rings. He's already done enough to make it into the Hall of Fame. I have no doubt in my mind he's getting there. And so it is nice to see this era for Florida where they've had some success after so many years of failure and so many years of mediocrity. And that's why there's so many current members of the team that are on the board as well. They've been honestly intimidating to watch over the last couple of playoffs, and we'll see what they do in 2026. But either way, these are my 2025 picks for my favorite Florida Panthers of all time. Let me know your.
So, interesting, very interesting that he's got, and of course, it's just his opinion. I thought it was best, like the best. That's why I was kind of freaking out. But it's interesting that he would put Barkov and Huberdeau 1 and 2 and leave out Jágr, who really helped Barkov and Huberdeau really right at the right time. Kind of curious as to why Jágr was completely left off that list. Was never a huge Vokun fan. Bure, I just had a bad taste in my mouth about it because of the Jovanovski thing, and we weren't winning anything anyway. You know what I mean? But if I had to go top 5 for me, Jovanovski, and then I have a hard time between Luongo and Forsling. Jágr would definitely be in there. I'm trying. It's hard when you go top 5. Definitely Jovo, Luongo, Forsling, Jágr. And I had to think about it after that. Yeah, and he didn't have Van Beesbrook was not on there either. Yeah, I guess I would have to put Beezer up there simply because my first dog's name was Beezer, right? But you've got Barkov now. It's got Barkov, Jovo, Lou, Bob, Beezer. Yeah. Great. Why you think Bob should be number 4, not Luongo? It's tough. I mean, when you're talking about top 5, it's tough because there's a lot of guys that are, even Steven. You know what I mean? I kind of include the whole like personality around them. I love Bobrovsky, but let's be honest, Roberto Luongo he's funny. You know what I mean? I'm taking the whole of Luongo into consideration, his Twitter game, the whole thing, when I look at it that way. Vincent, I know they always give me those ads. They always give me every day I get a different Temu dating site with that ad up there. They almost never give me anything that's like pertinent to what I'm actually looking for. I never get anything like, hey, try this new editing software or anything like that. Anthony says my top 5 are Barkov, Yovo, Yager, Stephen Weiss, Scott Mellenby. Yeah. Yeah, I know why. I guess a lot of people kind of forgotten about Van Beesbrook. You know what I mean? Since we've had Luongo and Bobrovsky since then, right? I says at least it wasn't a Blue Chew ad. Coupon code Flying Fluffy. Yeah, I get those dating site ads all the time. I don't know why. I never get anything like regular. Like I don't get like Match.com or anything like that. It's always the same ones, the same over the old people ads. So that's yeah. So being that it was his favorites, I thought it was what he was saying was the best. That's why it looked kind of funky, right? I was like, what Bowmeister? What? How do we get there? So yeah, Jovanovski's always going to be one for me. I think just watching Jovanovski shove Lindros around and Lemieux and going and hitting everybody just that one year. Like he was a bat out of hell that year. You know, top 3 wingers, top 3 defensemen. You get Ashley Madison ads and you're not even married. Yeah, right? See, top 3 wingers. It's a good question because, yeah, Forsling, that's right. I've been only naming. I mean, obviously, I would put Yager on that list, right? It's a good question. Lindsay definitely is on that list for sure. Mellenby was never one of my favorites. I liked Lindsay back then. You know, Bure was great. You know what I mean? The thing with Bure, for me, having been a Dolphins fan and watching Marino be great but never win anything, was when we had Bure, it was kind of like we already just saw what happens with the Dolphins when you have one great player and you can't put a team around them. So I was never all that excited about Bure because it was like, great, you got this one great guy and then the rest of the team, wasn't really good. Yeah, plus he's not strictly a Cats fan. Sure. Yeah, Jokinen was on that list. I know a lot of people like Stephen Weiss. I kind of was never a huge fan. You know, good God, good player. But I did like the 1 year of Weiss with Fleischman and Versteeg. That was a fun line. Svela, that's another good name, Craig. Yeah. Anthony says, can I really blame Pavel for the incompetent front office back then? No blame for him. It's just I could kind of see what was happening. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, we got probably the best guy in the league in that moment, you know, at least one of the best scorers, but you knew it wasn't going to translate to a Stanley Cup. Like you knew it wasn't going to work. Victor Kozlov is another good name. Yeah. Yeah, we had some decent players. We just could never put it all together. Dvorak, that's another good name. Marty Straka. I liked Straka too. He was a good little player. But Jovanovski just running around just bullying everybody. Like he didn't care, man. You know? He didn't care. He did not. It was like the original version of Tkachuk, but in a big defenseman's body. He just was running all over the ice, just taking shots. It was great. It was, Paul Laws too. Craig, Joe Cop, man. Somebody would don't carry that puck across the line with your head down. He'd just bury you. He was just leveling people. And by the time he came back, he had that hip surgery, and he was never the same. He had a lot of trouble skating. But Charles, Kyle's going to be live at 3. Yeah. All right. Speaking of which, I got to roll. I got to get the eBay stuff done. I got to get Kyle set up. This was good. I'm glad you guys brought this up. I want to try to do more of this during the streams when we got stuff to talk about and we can watch things. And so, good idea. Oh, yeah, Keith Ballard, Mr. Help Check. The only name on that whole list that Shannon gave out, the only one that I cannot forgive is Keith Yandel. That one, all of the other names are, I can see. Hey, that's cool, Adonis. But the Keith Yandel one, I don't think I can forgive that one. That just makes no logical sense to me at all. But we'll let them have that one mulligan. All right, everybody. Thank you all for all the love and support. Much, much appreciated. Thank you, Great White, for everything. And so Kyle will be live at 3, and I shall see you mañana at noon.